people. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Where is Neva? Where is Neva? Where is Neva? Where is Neva? Where is she? Where is she? Where is she? Where am I? Where are we?
Dakar, Senegal.
Dakar, Senegal. But today we're not talking about Dakar, Senegal. We are going to talk about being black in Africa and our Black American culture's experience. Well, let's back up. Being a Black American, okay? And I get this a lot. I don't know if you get this a lot. Being out here, people will say, Geneva, you're African, you're African, you're African. And I understand that. And I tell them, no, I'm not just African, I'm African American. And there was another African American who was like, no, but we're real African, we're real African. It's like, I claim both sides. Yeah. I claim both sides.
There's an entire culture. I tell this to people all the time, right? Like, they want you to. I am obviously African, right?
Yeah.
I come from the continent,
right?
Generations ago,
right?
But my ancestors were forced to come to a country, build that country, and create something out of nothing.
Build that country.
So yes, I am of African heritage, but to be Black American is to be a culture in itself. And people, I find, don't think there's a Black American culture. But look at the world. Look at the dances.
Look at
TikTok, all the
whoa.
Come on now, like that is worldwide. Our
Definitely
food,
so.
our style, our heritage. We are marketable. Like we built something out of absolutely nothing. So that's why I don't deny my Black American heritage, because it's a thing. It's real. It's real. Right. My grandmother helped integrate her lunch counters in this tiny town in Plant City, Florida. I only knew this because I asked her about it like 2 years ago. She was served raw hamburger. Why would I
raw hamburger?
History.
That's history. That's history.
That's my
Black
history.
Panther. Like, this richness,
history.
you know?
Yeah.
Like, we built the White House.
Yeah.
Okay?
We
literally, Chiterlings, shitlings.
Yeah.
Literally nothing. And we built something out of it. It's a delicacy now. Yeah. People are eating at fine dining restaurants now.
Yeah.
You know?
Everything about our culture as Black Americans has been building for other people.
Exactly.
And trying to build families that were separated, right?
Right.
Like, trying to build a culture,
right?
From pieces and fragmentations. Like the coolest thing about being in West Africa is seeing like wache in Ghana, like that's like rice and beans. Like we eat for New Year's, like black eyed peas, and rice to bring in the New Year. That's wache. It's the same thing, right? Like so.
It's amazing to see the relation. Yes.
And just think like someone really enslaved our people, brought them across
trying to strip everything away from them.
They couldn't.
And you're going to tell me that I'm not American? Like, and the thing is, it's so powerful to see that. It's to see both sides. You know, it's sad. Like, I'll talk to my African brothers and sisters, and I said, it's a privilege for you all to know what country, not even country, what village you are from. I don't know that, but you're not going to strip America away from me. You're not going to, because all of my ancestors who died getting to Atlanta, who were lynched on trees in Virginia, okay? My great uncle picked cotton in Alabama. You cannot take that away from me, and I will not. I will not throw that away and put it down the drain. No. I'm not. So I am gladly to say that I'm from Africa in America. Yeah. You know, yes, what they're doing to us in America is... But we're not talking about that. We're talking about...
I think you can be critical and still be proud. I think you can be critical of what's happening in America, but still be proud. Because as much as like the racism and the colors and all these problems that we have, like, at the end of the day, I will always be proud to be African American. And no one can ever take that away from me, right? Never. I can go and find out my ancestral DNA and find out I'm 30% Nigerian, 15% Ghanaian, 12% European, but at the end of the day, I will always be American because that is what I am.
That is amazing.
My family has been here for longer than, I'm just going to say, a lot of people, American family, came in the 20th century, came with, in the early 1910s, 1920s, 1890s. My people, God knows how long they've been here, but the transatlantic slave trade ended, 400 years ago? Or started 400 years ago? Just think.
Just think about that, right? 400 years ago.
I can trace my great grandmother, 1865. She was 20-something years old when they put her on the census. And that was right after, close to the Emancipation Proclamation.
Wow. That's a blessing. When you can trace that, like, I can't do that. I can't. And that's one thing I do want to hit on, is that we talked about it a little bit, that being Black American, we are so hard on ourselves.
Extremely.
So hard. We don't share these stories. We don't talk about our grandmothers being sharecroppers, or our great uncle being picking cotton, or you say your grandmother.
My grandmother who integrated a lunch counter.
A lunch counter. We don't talk about that because of the fear. Yeah. The fear, but that is something to be proud about.
And is it something that we should tell our kids, right?
Exactly, so that we can keep on changing. Them, right? We gotta keep on changing. Yeah. There's too much going on right now. And I see this shift, and I feel this shift, and I know you feel it because we met each other here.
Yeah,
that us coming back and building so that our brothers and sisters can understand the history on not just Africa's side, but African Americans. Because when I meet some of my African brothers and sisters, they tell me, like, well, we thought that someone actually told me this, that Black families are fatherless. And I said, Black Americans' families are fatherless. And I said, but do you understand why that is even something that we're talking about? Do you not understand the war on drugs? Do you not understand, like, there's so much history. Mass incarceration, like, all this.
It is systematic.
Do you not understand
how do you break
schooling? Like, when it comes to the Black, like, but we go through all this stuff, but still be hard on each other.
Like, the whole struggle word, like that, it really bothers me. Like, coming from, like, a Jamaican mother and a Black father, right. Like, I get a little bit of the diaspora on both sides, but, like, even seeing it, all of my Latino friends, my Asian friends, like, we always talk about, like, our parents do not want us to go, right? Like, you're 18, and a lot of Black households are like, okay, well, you're 18 today, so, like, you gotta leave.
You gotta go. Where's your bags at? Like, why are you still here? Why are you under?
Exactly, why are you under somebody, right?
Don't trust in people. Like, I've been told that for so.
But it's crazy because all of my friends, like, their families do not want them to go. They're like, you know what? Build yourself. Get your savings. And then when you can leave, like, you can enjoy your independence. You have the money to do it. Like, we are here to support and love you throughout.
Exactly.
And it's like, every time, we're talking about, like, generational wealth, or, like, people who are successful or made it, they're always like, well, their parents gave them money, or they were living at home, and I had to do this on my own. Like, and I'm so sorry that you had to do that. I'm sorry that you did not have the support of people to be able to do that, because you don't have to struggle.
No,
like, I don't think it's fair to want to or there should be a desire to want to struggle, right? Like,
exactly.
You want the love, you want financial support,
exactly.
and it's okay. I mean, if you want independence, like, I'm all for whatever you want to do, but what I'm saying is, like, there's this push to, like, that we're only listening to stories about people who made it, started from the bottom, now we hear type stuff.
Exactly.
But, like, did Drake start from the bottom?
Yeah. But then we have to understand where that rooted from. You know, it's all a mental thing. Yeah. It's all a mental thing. Yeah. It's like, if we go back in history and understand our Black ancestors, they literally had to struggle. Okay, and that's what they knew. So when you teach somebody of what you know, they're going to tell you, okay, we're here. Now you got to do better. Now you got to go through that struggle. But now that we came very far. Yeah. Why are we still doing the same shit? Why can't we lean on each other? Why can't we love on each other? Why can't we meet strangers and travel with them and believe that they have our best interests in heart?
And I think thinking about, like, things like generational wealth, like businesses, right? Like, people started from something. I mean, even at advantage, like in the early like 20th century, when people were coming from Italy and Ireland and all over Europe, right, and came to New York and started building businesses, right? Like those businesses are handed down and passed down, and their sons and daughters work for their business, and that's why like they are today.
That's why there's a Walmart.
Yeah.
That's why there's a Hershey's. There's all these big names. That's why there's Cocoa Butter.
Down, right? They're passed down.
All your big brands, Nikes and all that stuff, has been passed down for
generations.
And that's why when we feel like we have to always start from the bottom to become better, we're only going to continue to start over. And we're not going to build.
Yeah.
So, what are we leaving this with?
What are we leaving this with? Oh gosh. It's always the hardest part, right? Like you can talk about the problem, but what is the solution? I think just like it needs to be a change of mindset, right? Like think to yourself, like, why do I feel like this person's story is invalid or not worthy? Because they didn't struggle.
Right.
Like they're not necessarily.
And my thing is, your definition of struggle, everybody struggles. Everybody struggles. Just because your definition of struggle is different from somebody else doesn't mean that it's not the same. Yeah. Like, it's okay. My struggle is different than yours. Yeah. And maybe I didn't go through a struggle, but that doesn't take away from my story.
No, it doesn't.
So my thing is, I would say, be kind to each other.
Yeah.
Listen to each other.
Validate people's stories.
Validate people and support and love on each other. Because at the end of the day, when we love on each other and understand that we support each other, we will do better. Yeah. It's not a competition. It's not. Like, what are we competing for? We all about to die.
It always feels competitive. And I think that goes back to, like, slavery times. Like, it was a competition. Like, everything was competition.
They put our black men against each other to fight butt-ass naked, excuse my language, to fight for the white people to watch. And they bet on them. Like, they were some animals. Yeah. And we're doing that to each other.
There's competition happens everywhere, but like, why are we fighting against each other? I don't get that.
That's what we're leaving it off with. Let's not fight against each other. Let's support each other. Let's validate each other. Let's build to each other and listen to each other's stories. Let's listen to African stories. Listen to African American stories. Let's listen to British African stories. Like, there's so many black people in this world. Yeah. We got some healing to do. And some story tells heals. I love you all.
I love you guys.
I love you, baby. And together we can, always. All right. Mwah, mwah, kisses. Bye. Where is me? Where is me?